This is an e-content on idioms and their stories. What is an idiom? Idioms are words or phrases that aren't meant to be taken literally and usually have a cultural meaning behind them. For example, a bad egg. Bad egg means a dishonest or unreliable person. Now we are going to see the origin of the idioms. The first idiom that you see on the screen is albatross around a neck. The meaning of this particular idiom is a burden or a sense of guilt which becomes an obstacle to someone's success. The origin of this idiom goes like this. An albatross is a large bird which is found at sea, and sailors believe that killing this bird brings bad luck to the sailors. In Samuel Taylor Coleridge's poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, written in 1798, it tells the story of a sailor who kills an albatross. As soon as the bird is killed, things go terribly wrong on the ship. The wind dies and the crew runs out of drinking water. The sailor's angry shipmates hang the dead bird around his neck as a sign of his guilt. The next idiom is apple of one's eye, which means a prized possession. The origin of this idiom is that the apple here doesn't refer to the fruit, but the pupil in one's eye. People felt that the shape of the pupil was similar to the shape of an apple. In fact, for quite some time, the word apple was used to refer to both the eye and the fruit. The pupil is a priceless possession, for without it we would not be able to see. Since vision is something that all human beings value, the expression apple of one's eye came to mean something that is greatly valued or treasured. The next idiom is barking up the wrong tree. It means to make the wrong choice or follow the wrong course of action. This expression comes from the sport of raccoon hunting. Raccoon, also spelled raccoon, is a small furry animal found mostly in America. These animals, being nocturnal, are hunted at night. In order to catch them, hunters make use of dogs. The dogs chase these animals and drive them up a tree. Once a raccoon is driven up a tree, the dogs stand under it and keep barking. This is their way of telling their masters that there is an animal hiding in the tree. Sometimes, of course, the dogs pick the wrong tree to bark at, one in which there is no raccoon. The next idiom is beat around the bush. It means to avoid the main point or to conceal one's real intention. In the cruel sport of bat fowling, people entered the forest during the night and proceeded to kill fowls with the bats or clubs they were carrying. The bat fowlers and their servants used to scare the birds by beating around the bush in which the birds were sleeping. The sleepy birds, dazed and confused by the sudden commotion, would then fly directly to the bright lights that the men were carrying. Here they were beaten to death. The bat fowlers who beat about the bush were not really interested in the bush. They were interested in the birds that were sleeping inside. The next idiom is hit the sack. Hit the sack, it means a rather informal way of saying you are going to bed. During the Second World War, American soldiers started referring to their sleeping bag as sack. Hit the sack replaced the earlier expression hit the hay. Why hay? In the old days, people who couldn't afford a bed used to sleep on a sack stuffed with hay. Before they lay down to sleep, they used to keep hitting the sack till the straw or the hay was evenly spread. Thus, you have the idiom hit the sack. The next idiom is a familiar idiom, kick the bucket, which means to die. There are several explanations for the origin of this idiom. Some believe that several centuries ago, people made use of buckets to commit suicide. A man who wished to hang himself used to turn the bucket upside down, stand on it, and then proceed to put a noose around his neck. Once he had completed this task, he would then kick the bucket away, the result of which is death by hanging. The next idiom is a very interesting idiom, Pandora's box. It means a source of complication, something that will create new and unexpected problems. So we usually say to open Pandora's box. This expression has its origin in Greek mythology. Zeus, the king of gods, was fed up with mankind, and in order to teach them a lesson, he created a woman, Pandora. The king of gods then asked all the other gods to shower gifts on her, gifts which would ultimately bring about the downfall of man. The gifts were put in a beautiful box, and Zeus presented it to Pandora, warning her never to open it. Like most curious people, she opened it and saw to her horror all the evils of this world escape. According to some scholars, it wasn't Pandora who opened the box, but her husband, Epismetheus. As for the name Pandora, Pan in Greek means all and Dora means gifts.